G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. So in this video we are going to take on Belmod Universe 13, I believe, God of Destruction. So we're going to take on Belmod. He's one of the hardest or harder gods of destruction. And the reason is he occasionally will lock you into place. He will also seal random units as well. So what that generally means is that for the most part you can't really have what I would say in inverted commas is a weaker defensive unit. So you can't really have a unit that basically can't get hit, because you sometimes will not have the ability to move them out of the way. It also takes or makes it a little bit risky to run certain units, like for example the GoBros GT unit that I have here. They gain their defense upon super attacking. Should they ever be locked in the first slot, there is a high chance that we will die because of it, due to the amount of damage they'll take from any attacks that will occur before they fire off their super attack and activate their defense. So it is one of those things. But that being said, beyond those things, those small abilities he has, he also lowers the defense of units on some of his super attacks. So that's also a mechanic that causes quite a few issues. The reason being simply because a lot of units can't handle to have their defense lowered, and especially in these early rounds, having your defense lowered, which then causes you to take more damage afterwards, is a big problem for a lot of units, especially if they don't have any defense or damage reduction. So essentially the way this team has been built is we're running double hybrid Saiyan Gohans, Mystic Gohans. These Mystic Gohans will be fine. They greatly stack their defense, and they will reach defense very quickly at a point where they won't be a threat defensively. They'll still take damage on supers for a while, at least until they get to about the 300-400k mark, but they won't take a tremendous amount of damage. We then have the latest World Tournament unit, the Tech Super Saiyan Gohan. One copy of him, but that's more than fine. He has 30% damage reduction, 158% attack and defense, and he gains an additional attack and defense of 58% when he's on the same turn as a Goku's family unit, which does help quite a bit. We then also have the Transforming Trunks, a specialist unit. Obviously we have him rainbowed, which helps, but he will stack defense once he transforms to Super Saiyan, and he'll be okay as a floater, as well as providing a decent amount of damage as well. We then have Khalifa, who obviously dodges all of the attacks that she can. The previously mentioned GT GoBros, who aren't really providing a buff to the rotation, but are providing a buff for themselves. And we have the Agl Kid Gohan, the one that recently came out with Garlic Jr., whose active skill we will be using. Their defense stacking means that they'll reach a point where they won't take damage from normals, but they will be taking quite... Look, if Agl Kid Gohan gets super attacked, we're not going to be able to survive. That's the easiest way to explain it. They will be able to avoid taking damage from normals quite quickly, but they won't be able to survive taking damage from super attacks anytime soon. We also took the Bulma skill, the Bulma support skill, for that extra health regen. We don't have a lot of health regen until our team gets to a certain point defensively, so it's best for you to honestly try and push the units up as much as you can. You're going to want to try and fill them out with orbs, so that they can heal you up. Same type orbs. Obviously your team is very tech orientated, so in the moment you can, you really want to try and grab as many AGL orbs as possible with the Kid Gohan. That's going to enable you to obviously increase your health, but also just like what happens is when you keep focusing on a single type of orb, you can really struggle to continuously get that type of orb, because the map will obviously fill up with all the orbs you aren't taking. So you really need to try, when possible, on the unit you can, to take things like strength orb, physical orbs. The GT GoBros, the Khalifa, they're not going to benefit a lot from the orbs. They don't stack their defense to tremendous heights, and obviously they get their defense upon super. So you really want to try and grab the multicolored orbs with them. Similarly with this Gohan from the World Tournament, he's not going to stack as quickly as the other ones, and he mainly relies on his damage reduction to be defensively viable. So we really want to focus on picking up those multicolored orbs with those units. So that is one of those things. You can see here also just how having units locked into place, having units sealed causes issues. So the units you don't want to have sealed, obviously the Gobros, the GT Gobros, if they're sealed, they're not going to be able to activate their defense, which is a problem. You also don't want the Trunks sealed because he really needs to stack his defense. Similarly with the Agl Gohan, he also needs to stack his defense quite badly. But yeah, those are some of the problem areas. You can see here, taking that super attack, also not great. Something we also really wish we could avoid, because again, it will just cause a lot of issues. Taking super attacks like that, it is just something that causes us a lot of problems. So realistically, that's the biggest threat of Belmod, is just him locking units into place, them not being able to attack, and then they take a lot of damage from his attacks. Or it's a unit that we don't want locked into place, but does get locked into place and then just takes a tremendous amount of damage, and that puts us on the back foot for the entire portion of the fight. We're not able to stack, or our healing's not able to overcome the damage that we would take from stacking. And yeah, you just need to be aware of all of these things. And you can see that when I talk about setting up orbs, you can see how I took the red orbs here with Trunks. There were no green orbs that were viable, and I know that Agl Gohan is on the next rotation, so I make sure that when I do leave orbs, I leave some blue orbs so that they are perfectly viable. So it is just one of those things. Like I say, you are going to have to be aware of it, and just make sure that you are staying on top of your orb choices and your orb placement. You don't want to be caught out and not have any orbs available to not be healing. You don't want to be left in the situation where you are not able to keep up your health and you get taken out by one unfortunate super attack. As you can see, we're getting caught with quite a few super attacks. It's lowering attack, it's lowering defense. We are fortunate in that we've gotten to the point where our units have stacked up enough that we're not suffering entirely from it, but you can see we've gotten very low at certain points. So it is one of those things you do just need to be aware of. You can see here we're trying to make sure that we leave as many AGL orbs, trying to still keep the best units possible in the best slots, and of course using the active skill to regain some health. And also we want Gohan in that third slot position. We don't want him on main rotation, but with his active skill being activated, we should be more than fine. We get some health back from it. We'll get some health back from the AGL orbs. Khalifa will dodge everything. With the additional defense, Gohan should be fine, and the SS Gohan starting to stack to the point where he'll also be fine. Whenever you see Belmod fire an attack at Khalifa, you get internally happy because now you've basically managed to give yourself that extra turn. So realistically, like at this point, I don't want to say we're guaranteed to win, because we definitely weren't, but every turn that goes by where we don't take a lot of damage like this, and then we're sitting at this kind of stage where we can go, okay, let's take the Gohan with the most defense, let's shift him into the best position, let's take all these tech orbs with them, and you'll see we heal up so much. And that's just because Gohan's defense is so high at this point. And when you can heal up like that, when you can have a rotation set up like this, you start to feel a bit more confident, because as each turn passes, your ability to heal gets better, your unit's defense gets better, and the only real risk unit we have is Kid Gohan at this point and the GT Gobros. But as long as they can super attack, and as long as they don't get sealed in the first turn, they actually will be fine defensively the whole way through. Even if they get caught with a super attack, they'll only be taking 90k or somewhat. They're really good defensively as long as they can fire off their super attack. So yeah, realistically, we just want to keep this rolling. We want to obviously hope that no one starts to get locked into place, But as long as you have Agl Gohan in your floating slot, usually speaking, he shouldn't end up getting locked into place in a position where you don't want him to. He can still, obviously, it's not something you have complete control over, but him appearing less each turn essentially does mean we have more chance of him not appearing. And you can see in these situations we have a full health bar, we're more than fine, we're okay health wise. I think if you are looking for alternative team builds, it is quite a difficult fight. I know something like Majin Buu team can work, or an Artificial Life Forms team can work. You can also do something with Vegeta with the Resurrected Warriors and a Super Saiyan 2 team. That's also a viable option. Ideally, you want to stick to tech units. You want to stick to AGL units. A Connected Hope team led by PyCon is also very good if you can manage to find a PyCon friend lead and you can get double PyCon leads. Super duper effective team. PyCon's great from the perspective of being able to really just avoid damage with his evasion and the ability to delay super attacks as well. Does obviously help quite a bit. But yeah, realistically speaking, there's quite a few team build options. As these Mystic Gohans start to really stack up as well, their attack gets really, really big. You'll see we've gone from 2 millions to 4 millions, which is really, really good. And we have now control of this fight realistically. The only real way that we lose is if Kid Gohan gets locked into first slot next turn. That'll be a bit of a problem. And then that's really about it. So yeah, if that doesn't happen, then you're basically done. Obviously Kid Gohan's here in our floating position, so he can't get locked next turn, so you can't lose. So that's a pretty wrapped up and sealed God of Destruction event here. We can put Gohan in the first slot, so you can take some hits, try and get some damage if possible, but you can play this as safe as you want. You're completely in control at this point. You don't need to stress too much about anything, and you can obviously still set things up for next turn if you really want to, but we've basically guaranteed our victory here. So that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I will see you guys in the next one, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Have you tried Belmod? Have you tried different teams for him? What teams did you guys rock? What units did you guys rock? And how did those units do? And yeah, I'm always interested to hear about what takes you guys have on the events. Have you enjoyed the God of Destruction events overall? Do you think they could have been harder, easier? Let me know. But yeah, we finish off Belmod with a Dokkan attack, which is always nice to do, I guess. And overall, it was relatively easy. But as always, guys, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, take care, stay safe, and as always, bye!